So does the English in these verses, you, your, does it indicate plural or singular? What's the second person doing? That's kind of the question that we want to ask. Now, before we throw up slide 29, let me read something for you, in case you guys might wonder where I'm getting some of this. I mean, I figured this out when I was studying Hebrew, but it's kind of nice to see it in other resources. This is the Hirsch Chumash. It's a rabbinic commentary, non-messianic, but still chock full of a lot of good Hebrew nuggets that you ordinarily wouldn't get if you didn't have a Hebrew resource, either in the way of a rabbi as a friend or even just someone else. On the commentary to this particular verse that we're reading about, Hirsch makes this comment. He says, wherever the form of address alternates between singular and plural, as in the beginning of chapter 6 of Deuteronomy, like we started out with, the plural form addresses the nation in the plurality of its individual members, whereas the singular form addresses the nation as a whole. Now, I can agree with that, where you'll have a word that says you, and like in English we say you, as in you all. So I'm addressing the group of you. But then at the same time, English allows for you, one person. Or in the South we say y'all, right? So the duty to observe, notice what Hirsch talks about. The duty to observe Torah devolves upon every individual, in essence, upon the nation in the plurality of its members. The commandments must be observed by everyone, not just by official representatives of the nation. In the view of divine truth, a nation that officially professes loyalty to the Torah, but whose individual members deny this loyalty by their personal conduct, is an intolerable absurdity. In other words, let me just paraphrase so I can cut to the chase here. Hirsch is trying to bring out the fact that God envisioned a covenant with a group of people in which each individual member had the divine privilege and responsibility of walking in the commandments that were given to the group as a whole. So God didn't really envision that, okay, the leaders have to keep the commandments because they're leaders, but the rest of you can slide. Or you can gather in your meetings, but only the leaders have to pay attention, but everyone else can just sleep. God didn't envision that. So now let's bring up slide 29 and see this. I know this is not going to be, it's probably too light to see for some of you, and that's all right. I'm going to read this for you too. So now we've got the Shema again showing up. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. There's our new at the very end. Eloheinu, the Lord our God. Group of people. But here's what's really neat now. This line right here is inserted because I pulled this straight from a website, rabbinic website. If you're praying the prayers, you would insert this, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Vayed. Blessed is the name of his glorious kingdom forever. But it's not actually in the Torah. It's just a comment to what, instructions of what to do if you're praying this. Look at this here, though. This is the rest of the passage. This is 5 through 9 that we just read earlier about and you are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your being, with all your resources. These words which I'm ordering you today be on your heart. And I'm reading it from David Stern's version. Teach them carefully. You don't have to go back to the slide. You're to teach them carefully to your children. Talk about them when you're at home. And I underlined all those yous. But now let's see what they are. So this says, what I want you to listen for, it's actually a little Hebrew lesson. The end of the word for the Hebrew suffix is echa or echem. And Hebrew is what we call male presumptive. So if you have a mixed group, when the speaker is speaking to the group, if there are males and females, the pronouns go into the masculine. Even if there's one male in the group, you could have 99 females and one male, and the guy speaking is going to use the masculine suffix, echem. So that's what happens if it were a group, echem, the end. Whatever, like your house chem, your car chem, your book chem, your table chem, your whatever, your something chem. But when it's singular, it's echa, using the masculine. So it's you, as if I was pointing to one guy. You are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your, I like that word me'odika, which we're going to see up in a moment, with all your veriness is what it literally translates. With all you've got, right? Which makes sense why the Greek pulled in that extra word when they said with all your mind. So here's what we end up with. Right here we start out with, you shall love the Lord your God. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha. Up here it's Eloheinu, all of you. But down here, this little letter plus that little T underneath it is the Cha. This is you individually. Now, I understand it's male presumptive, but context. It's individuals now. You are the Lord, love the Lord your God, not you group. Now, I know it is a group, but now God's singling out the individuals. He wants us to realize that his relationship with us is not just on a corporate level, it is on an individual level. You've got to love the Lord, your personal God. Don't just say, my parents' religion, the God of my fathers, the God. He is your God. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. That word right there, all your veriness. Me'odecha. You are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. V'hayai hadrim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha. I want you to listen for the chaz. V'shinan tam levanecha v'debarta bam b'shibtaka b'vetaka uvlektaka v'derek uv'shachbaka uv'chumecha ukshartam leot al yadaka v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot betaka uvish arecha. There's a lot of echaz in there, about 16 or so to be exact. What's God saying to us? All those yous that you saw in the other one, these words which I'm ordering you today, they're to be on your heart. You're to teach them to your children. You are to talk about them when you sit at home. Not just the group, individuals. You've got to embrace God on a personal level. We talk about changing the nation, change the world. Mark and I resonate on this. He and I were chatting this morning, and I told him, I said, man, you've been preaching, you're talking about we need to go out and we need to be world changers. But how can we change the world if we can't change the nation? How can we change the nation if we can't change the community? How can we change the community if we can't change our families? How can we change the families if we can't change ourselves? You have got to change. You have got to embrace Yeshua personally. You have got to fall in love with him all over again. This is really the meat of my message today. It's personal revival. We cry out for revival for our nation, and we need it. We really do. But it's individuals. You've got to embrace it for yourself.